welcome welcome back to Total Spotfest. This is JJ Brownlee. That's Jamie Faulkner. We are back at you here again. We got another week of wrestling to talk about. Bunch of other stuff going on. We got pay-per-view coming up this weekend, which we probably won't be watching. We might. We'll talk about it. But, just trying to stay warm right now is about it, Jamie.
Yeah, it's cold. It's snowy where we are.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I care about right now, other than obviously talking about wrestling, is the right ankle of one Patrick Mahomes.
So okay, let me ask you about that. First of all, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate you joining us here this week. If this is your first time checking us out, welcome. Drop a comment down below if you want to join the conversation, or hit us up on Twitter at Total Spotfest. While you're down there, you can definitely hit like, subscribe, share. Helps us out quite a bit. So did your heart drop into your stomach when he got rolled over?
Oh, I thought it was over, and then anything is possible. Drives 98 yards like he's been in the game the entire time and scores a touchdown like it was nothing.
Okay, from an outside perspective, I saw it happen. I watched some football all weekend, even though my team's way out of it. I don't care. It's still football, right? I had no worries about the Jaguars game for you guys. I was like, he can come in, they'll be fine. They'll win this game, Lawrence wasn't having a good game, and whatever. But I was just like, ooh, that's going to shape up bad. But he's going to go on Sunday, and you got your wish, a home game for the AFC Championship against your kryptonite, though.
Yeah, our kryptonite. It's not a rivalry yet because we haven't beat them. But I feel one coming.
Bengals don't deserve rivals. In their division, they are definitely the redhead stepchildren of the AFC North. Because the Steelers' rivals are the Browns and the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Browns' rivals are the Steelers and the Ravens. The Ravens' rivals are the Steelers. That's pretty much it.
That's fair.
We don't care about we're all like, oh yeah, as the Bungles, right? Even though they're now definitely the best team in the division. We're all just whatever, fuck you guys, So
they're a good team, man. I hate Eli Apple. I really would be okay if he got hit by a car tomorrow. And it's not it's
not really,
legit.
but
Oh no. I do.
Like just maim him, right? Just.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe make him eat his own words and his stuff about. Yeah, nope. I'm okay if he is unable to play the game of football ever again.
Gotcha.
But I don't mind him on the field because he sucks, so it's all good too.
Oh, he's overrated. He's overrated as hell.
Oh.
They have a lot of guys who aren't though. Like Mike Hilton. I mean, I was mad when we let him go, and because I'm just like, he is low key a key piece of our defense, but he's proven it. But it should be interesting to see for sure.
I mean, obviously I'm nervous. I want this one. I want this one bad, but we'll see.
I find it interesting. You could have the Kelsey brothers or Andy Reid versus his old team, right? You could have that.
So many storylines right there.
Right. Or on the complete flip side, you could have Niners Bengals in what the fuck year is this bowl?
Yeah, 1988.
Oh my god, which was a fantastic Super Bowl. If y'all aren't familiar with some of the 80s, that was the first one, not the second one they went to, but the first one was,
yeah, not the second one where they got blown out by 40.
Yeah, that first one was fantastic. So
yeah, that was great.
We hope you guys enjoy your sports weekend. We got some wrestling to talk about. So you want to start with? Let's start with the big dog and his family. So past Monday was WWE XXX. I mean WWE Raw's 30th anniversary.
PG.
Very PG with geriatric DX again. I didn't watch any of this. I just watched a bunch of fucking clips on Twitter, and it's about what you expect every one of their reunion shows to be.
Yeah, I guess the big highlight of the show was the trial of Sami Zayn and then Alexa Bliss's promo. Like those were the biggest highlights of the whole thing. No wrestling, just that.
Yeah, like speaking of no wrestling, the trial word is that the trial ran so long they actually cut the cage match between Bayley and Becky Lynch into being just a cage 5-minute little beatdown, and then Adam Pearce came and stopped it, and that was a reoccurring theme. So, interestingly enough, some of our least favorite people, the Bellas, they were absent, even though they promoted for it. But Nikki Bella then got on Instagram afterwards, or TikTok, or something. I don't know, fucking know.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah,
something. Kids, and was kind of harping up about how they could have had all these other women there, and they, almost dogging on WWE for missing the ball about the whole lack of female representation, which is very much a truthful thing, because between last SmackDown and this Raw 30th episode, they had an women's match. There's more women's matches in AEW programming over the same period of time than WWE had.
And that's not including Dark and Dark Elevation. That is legit Dynamite and Rampage. More women's matches.
I mean,
amazing.
And the funniest thing with that is that NXT the next night, which we don't talk a lot about the new NXT. It's better than the color coded NXT was, but NXT the next night had like 4 in a 2-hour show, had like 4 women's matches and like 7 women's promos mixed in with everything.
Yeah.
How can it be? NXT has always had the sweet spot for female talent and major promotions.
No, I agree. I don't know if you saw Nikita Lyons is injured. She tore her ACL and MCL, so she's on the shelf. But what they're doing, Toxic Attraction right now is very, very good.
Absolutely.
And Roxanne, I said Roxy. No, they're doing a lot of good things down there right now. It's better. The kayfabe fight between Braun Breaker and the one dude who likes to think he's a basketball player guy. Can't think of his name.
Grayson Waller.
Yeah, Grayson Waller. They were in the Performance Center getting in a fight there, and the next thing you know, they're getting in a fight on the show. Okay. I appreciate what you're doing here. So, yeah, I mean, it's got some good pieces there. You definitely see Shawn Michaels' fingers all over it.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for HBK to come out here. But you're right. He knows what to do.
Yeah. Trust in the GOAT.
It is a shame, though, that, especially because when I look at WWE especially, here's the part that really gets me, You brought back Mia Yim. Whatever, right? People didn't really react too much. This is a shame, right? You brought back Tegan Knox. Nobody even got out of their seat,
It didn't care.
Didn't care at all, right? I think that Damage Control's been successful because it's really the only thing you're pushing, but it's good to see EO and I almost said Charlie, Dakota Sky get that pop. But other than that, I mean, when's the last time you heard
Scarlett Bordeaux?
She's had a match in main event apparently, so I haven't even heard too much about Karrion Kross.
Yeah. That's why I was wondering, where are those two at? They came back in and just disappeared. Is he hurt?
I just don't. The problem is that, they keep wrestling back. It's falling into old patterns. So even though you do all this, most of the show is what? Bloodline bullshit. Right?
Mm-hmm. It's bloodline. A
little bit of Bray Wyatt.
Bloodline.
Well, we'll see how much Bloodline goes on. So this weekend is Royal Rumble. We were talking about this, and Jamie and I both were like, yeah, we're not watching. And then I started to think about more. I might watch the Rumble match. Only because I think you may be right I think there's more of a possibility of Jay White showing than I gave it credit for. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say he's going to be there. I'm not putting on any stamps or anything, but
Oh. I'm going to get myself a hat here before too long because, like, when we're talking Dynamite, I'm seeing the writing on the wall for some shit I said 3 weeks ago. This is going to happen. I'm like,
you know.
But yeah, no, the Rumble. So the thing is, if it wasn't for the Rumble, this show wouldn't be here. Our very first show ever. And if you want to listen to it, you're more than welcome to. It is not good.
We were
but
not.
You can listen to it.
It was rough.
it was a thing. Yeah, but you know, it was like it's a spectacle. It is. Like I personally like the Rumble better than Mania.
You and I talked about this a long time before we ever even thought about doing this podcast. Is that because that's our favorite match, right? It's the favorite, the Royal Rumble. It's such an innovative idea of a match, you know, and the way it's done, and there's always big surprises and pops and all. You know, pre AEW, you know, but you know, returns, legends, and it's such a great. It's fantastic. It's long been one of my favorite events and matches.
Yeah, I will watch. I'm on the fence. I am 100% on the fence if I'm going to watch the Rumble. But I know I'm going to break down and watch it because even though I'm not full on in WWE land right now, it's still the Rumble. And rumor has it RVD is going to show up. Jay White might be there.
We know Cody's going to win.
Yeah, Cody's going to win. Kairi Sane's going to be there. Rhea Ripley's winning the women. If she doesn't, that's a travesty. But, you know, so it's just one of those things. Like, it is just a spectacle to be had. And I love the Rumble. Just love it. So, I bring this to you then.
Ooh.
Since we both love the Rumble.
Oh, we're good. We're diving down the path. What's up?
What's your favorite Royal Rumble, sir?
Oh, my God. So... such a tough one because, I mean, the Royal Rumble, minimum of an hour-long match, right? You know, it's a long match. There's lots of ups and downs in every Rumble. And there's been, I mean, you can point to a lot of different individual things from a bunch of Rumbles, you know, but there's a few that stand out to me. I know it's kind of, you know, I don't want to call it low-hanging fruit necessarily, but, you know, there's a consensus amongst some older marks out there, and I definitely am in the boat. The 92 Rumble is probably my favorite Rumble. Ric Flair is one of the ones they did where the belt was on the line, right? Winner got the belt. Ric Flair came in third. A lot of people think Ric Flair went bell to bell. He didn't. He came in third. But my God, I think it was his crowning achievement in WWE, right? Most of his stuff, good stuff, was all from NWA and WCW and, you know, all that stuff. But, I mean, that match was so good. You had a 92, so that's when you still had, you had Macho was still there, HBK. You know, it was just masterful. Loved it. I just loved every second of it. The promo afterwards was the cherry on the top, right? Him and Bobby Heenan and Kurt Hennig. Oh my God. It was gloriousness. It is considered to be one of the classic, you know, best Rumble, but low hanging fruit, I don't care. It's my favorite.
And I think mine is even more low hanging fruit, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And for me, I mean, I was not 21 yet. I was turning 21 that year. The 2001 Royal Rumble might be the best ever. Because I will give you this. In this Royal Rumble, The lucky number 27, Stone Cold Steve Austin won it. 27 is the lucky number. It has been, as soon as WWE figured it out, like it's an actual thing, because I know they didn't put that together until like 10 years later.
Right.
But just get a load of this, man. Kane. This is the famous one where Kane eliminated 11 people. He eliminated Raven, Al Snow, Perry Saturn, Steve Blackman, Grandmaster Sexay, Honky Tonk Man, and none other than The Rock.
I mean, that was probably the Monday Night Wars peak WWE-ness. You know, that was right. That was at that time when we knew who was winning this war. It's like, oh no, it's them. And they showed up. That wasn't Austin's first win. That was his second, or was that his last?
It was his second win.
Second win.
Yeah, because he won in 97 to take on Michaels. X17, whatever. That was the one with DX.
Right.
And Mike Tyson. And then he won this one. This might be his last one.
He won 3.
Did he?
Yeah.
I think you're right. Also, did you know in this Royal Rumble, I just happened to pull up the fact sheet when I was like, hey, let's talk about this. They dropped 2 belts in that one too, and who knew? So the Intercontinental Championship actually changed from Chris Benoit to Chris Jericho, and the WWF Tag Team Championships went from Edge and Christian to the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley.
Gotta love those. I mean that trio of tag teams. We could talk about that for hours. How about this? What are some of your favorite entrances, surprises from the Rumble match? One
of my favorite ones of all time was the Faces of Foley. Like, I loved that whole thing. He came in 4 different times as so 4 different people. Yeah. And it was awesome. Like, that was one of my favorite entrants of all time. Now, surprise entrance that you haven't seen in a while that just came back or something like that. It has to be, and I think this is a little bit on the nose with some of the stuff that's going on with him lately. But when Kevin Nash came back as the gimmick Diesel.
Right.
That was arguably one of my favorite. Like, oh my God, it's Diesel, you know? Like, can't do much better than that.
I mean, they had a lot of them. Excuse me, man. It's just changing weather, just messing my sinuses up something fierce, man. I cannot get past this. It's just constant drippage. It's driving me insane. Sorry. The big fanboy in me, of course, gravitates to one of the more recent ones. That's AJ Styles, right? You know, 2016. Yes, 16.
That was amazing.
I mean, because didn't know for sure, and we were like, oh no, he'll never go to the WWE. No, I don't know. You know, he's gonna go to Japan, or it's like, no, he got rode out of the Bullet Club. Shit, what's he gonna do now? It's like, really? Could he? And he sure as shit did. And my God, the pop. Oh my God, I popped harder, I think, than anybody. But
I remember like watching it. I'm like, oh my God, like flipping out. Yeah,
it was insane. So I really liked China. I can't remember what year it was, but the first appearance of China, first woman in the Royal Rumble. I want to say it was 99, but I might be off.
1999.
That wasn't necessarily like the biggest of surprises, but it was a little moderate one. But I really enjoyed it because at the time that was super taboo. But China was a freak.
She was.
So, well,
God rest her soul.
Maybe I'm leaning towards trying to watch the match, if nothing else. If nothing else, maybe I'll just watch, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm doing anything Saturday or not. So I might watch the replay of it and just forward to the match. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So
Is it Saturday or is it Sunday?
Saturday.
Oh, well, I'm going to a wedding reception, so
I'm pretty
I
sure
will be
it's
watching
Saturday.
the replay.
So this weekend, guys, Royal Rumble. Hey.
You can tell we don't watch.
Well, you know what you can do on your weekend, which is what I recommend doing. And I know this is a wrestling podcast, but can we talk Last of Us?
Oh, yes, yes, we can.
So, for those of you who don't want spoilers, don't want to get in here, just fast forward about 5-6 minutes, whatever. But let's have our weekly nerd out session talking about Last of Us, because how good was this last episode, man?
They did a couple things, so it makes me feel like they're gonna change a few more things. But like the hotel is not in Boston. The hotel is in Pittsburgh.
Right.
But they didn't do the full hotel, so it might be a little different. We'll see. The one thing that really got me from the show and watching the little extra afterwards, like, oh yeah, hey, just in case you didn't know, the clickers were 100% practical effects, and that just made my heart so happy because they looked.
I know it did.
Frightening, and I loved every last second of those clickers.
I mean, there's a reason they spent so much damn money on this show, obviously. So they nailed it, and I think that the words that they said in the after show was perfect too. You know, they want they had to find the right balance of pleasing the video game nerds and them being like, "Yep, that's it," and getting the people who've never played the video game being like, "What the fuck is that?" Right? You know?
Yes, I think nailhead, because like Megan watched it with me, and so did Bailey, and Bailey's watched the game a little bit, you know, on YouTube. It never has. She's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, you know, it's like, yes, you got it.
What is like, gives you hope that once we see that bloater, look out.
Which, I don't know if you noticed, but like when the guy was talking, he had a bloater statue behind him.
I did notice that.
Because I was like,
well, they showed the bloater on one of the trailers anyway, too. Briefly.
Yeah, and freaking Ellie just is like, "Oh man, I heard these one guys like have no faces and all this stuff, and then the other ones throw fungus at you." Like, what?
Blow up in spores. All right. Speaking of throwing fungus and spores, okay. I know that you were a little apprehensive about the whole thing with the changing of the delivery method, the no spores bit, right? Obviously done. I mean, and they talked about in the post show, they did it for some logical reasons, which technically do make sense, right?
Yeah.
You know, spores, how can you contain them to a certain area? They would get everywhere, right? You know, so okay, I understand that. You really just didn't want to put Pedro Pascal in a gas mask. But what did you think about the way they did the whole Vine thing? Because that's going to be the way it's going to translate throughout the rest of the series. You know, this whole idea that they're interconnected, which is based in science. Truthfully told, I Googled it after the guy said it. I'm like, let me make sure this motherfucker's telling the truth, right? And it is. It's cool, right?
Yeah. So going with the cordyceps, this is the thing I really appreciate. They are 100% committed to the bit. They're committed to this, and then going to Jakarta and showing how everything went down, and the fact that it was at a flower plant as well added to the piece of they didn't eat any flour and that's why they're fine. Like, you know, it's just the little things like that that you caught on. And I think, honestly, I hate to say it, the way it's on TV, it's more frightening than the video game.
I 100% agree, because in the video game, if you're a stealth master, you're good. With this, the whole idea about this interconnectivity, especially of that too, and you know, the fact that they can lie dormant and then at a moment's notice, you know, be summoned somewhere else, you know, that's terrifying. You never know it's coming, and all of a sudden you have a hurt on your ass. I mean,
yeah, and the fact that is 100% in reality science. Like, if
I love
anybody's
this.
ever watched those
I love
videos of the cordyceps like taking over an ant or a
Yeah.
grasshopper or something like that, it's just frightening. And thinking like, oh,
Mhm.
that could happen to a human. I mean, it can't right now,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Well, theoretically,
yeah,
and that's the part of the fright of it. I mean, and to your point about the hotel bit too, I think that the similarity is going to be drawn, whether fair or not, for at least for the rest of the first season. There's going to be similarities drawn to The Walking Dead, right? You're taking a beloved piece of entertainment from one medium, putting it on TV, right? Translating it over. It's not it. You're not going to do a literal translation 1-to-1, right? This isn't an animated WB movie or whatever, right? So where is that change is going to be and how far do they deviate? I felt like even though the changes here, the pulling the hotel into Boston instead of being in Pittsburgh, not having the military be the ones that are after them at the courthouse, I don't feel like we're gotten off anywhere, right? It still feels like not one of those just like, well, we're on the grand arc, but there's deviations. It still feels like the same thing, really.
yeah. It's just like, since I love that game, it's arguably one of the best games I've ever played. It's just like the little things like that. It's like, oh, why are they doing the hotel here, or are they gonna do a hotel there? Like, it's weird. Like, I just want to see how it plays out now. Like, okay, you took
Mm-hmm.
arguably one of the most important parts of Pittsburgh out.
Well, we don't know that yet too. I think some of that's going to come into timing because, like we made mention, this is what 9 episodes is this season. Is that what you said?
9.
They could do 9 episodes just in Pittsburgh.
Dude,
So
Pittsburgh's
gotta
so good.
you gotta consolidate where you can. Well, we'll continue this next week. We're probably going to talk about every episode every week, guys. Welcome to Total Spotfest, wrestling and entertainment podcast.
Yeah, well, we're just adding. We're adding.
Why not do it? Speaking of adding, there was a notable addition to AEW TV now. A welcome and well overdue addition to AEW TV last night.
That's right. Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho tag teamed on Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen.
Sex gods, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was not the thing. So realistically, the show as a whole was fine. Like, for me, it was the end. There's 2 things about it, but that was the biggest thing. Like, the big thing was that main event with Mark Briscoe on Jay's birthday, no less.
Yeah,
which,
go figure that.
holy shit!
Talk about weird among weird. Holy.
Yeah. So, like we talked about, there was the ban on the Briscoes, but after a heart-to-heart with Tony and everybody, they lifted the ban, and Mark Briscoe was able to appear in not only this one time, but be on AEW television moving forward potentially, which fucking A deserves.
Well, overdue.
Yeah. I mean, never mind. I'm not going to get into my thoughts about how we crucify people for things that they said 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Because, oh my God, people make mistakes. Anyway, so this show, I'll put it this way. There was no duds, but there weren't any oh my gods either.
Yeah,
it was
I don't want to safe is the word that first comes to mind, and I don't want to, it's not the best word to, but it's the most apropos, I think, I think that a lot of it, even to the fact of your opening with Jericho, right?
Yeah.
Lots of us safe, The Danielson match was good. It was fine, right?
It was definitely a letdown from what he's put on the past 2, but it did plant more seeds, so it works out. So let's talk about that match.
Let's start with that one there, because to be fair, we've said this the last 2 weeks. We were wrong last week, but you can't keep at this pace. You can't go out there and just do like fucking magic like this every goddamn week. I mean, first of all, the bar is way too far up now, so you gotta knock it down a little bit. And that's a bad sentiment to have when talking about Mr. Brian Cage, because it was a welcome sight to see him on TV again. Honestly.
Yeah, and upcoming free agent who is garnering interest from the E.
He is kinetic. He fits that. Like, the mold is him. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Go get paid. Go for it.
Yeah, he deserves it. But yeah, so this match, it did what it was supposed to do. Like, it definitely made Brian Cage look big, strong, and imposing, yet agile, nimble, and athletic, which was great. It definitely made him look good. And it still made Bryan Danielson look like Bryan Danielson. Like, it just didn't have the lightning that the other ones had. Like winning on a roll up. That's pretty cool. That's actually very apropos for beating a big guy. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It was just when you compare it to the Keshka match and
Bandito and
yeah, you can't really.
Well, the story was because he was paid to hurt his arm anyway, and it's more. That's the seed that needs to be planted, not another fucking 5-star or whatever, right? We didn't need to have that fantastic match. We needed to further the storyline. And MJF's promo later on, which I thought was fucking fantastic. And this is a guy who never does a bad promo. That was one of his better ones in the recent weeks, man. He, like, behind closed doors in the back, sort of bit, a personal face-to-face. It killed it, Going after Takeshka, who Takeshka came out and made the save before they broke his arm for good, right? Which, okay, what are your thoughts about Takeshka being involved in this angle of sorts?
Any rub to get Takeshka up to the main event, I am 100% for.
You don't feel like it's too soon?
No.
Okay.
That kid has proven that he is built for any moment. Like, I don't think it's too soon for that guy. He is legit special.
I'm with you there. I think that having him on the tongue of MJF validates that, you're putting him out there. He gets over like a son of a bitch with the crowds. I think that you have an offshoot, even though it's now kind of more ancillary, even though he still does wear the gear. There's a possibility there. Takeshka in the BCC. I mean, who knows, right?
Ooh. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Takeshka and Yuta as tag team champions. Let's go. Just saying. I'm just throwing that out at you.
If that happens, you could refer to me as Betty.
Comment down below if you have any idea what Jamie's talking about. We'll leave it at that. So, like I said, a lot of this stuff was good. I don't even want to say it was fine. A lot of stuff was good. It just wasn't that, killer. I think that is all smart as well, because you wanted the big moment to be Mark Briscoe.
Yeah. And everybody knew that. They didn't want to take away from that shine, and they definitely didn't. Because that match was amazing.
And we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. But what else do you want to talk about from the show?
So, I mean, Chris Jericho and Sammy won. Good match. Darby and Buddy, surprisingly a lot better than I was expecting. Again, like, Darby maybe finally is listening to people like, hey, 90-10 of you getting the shit kicked out of you is getting old. Why don't you, like, back it up to 80-20?
Let's go 70-30. Come on.
70-30. Yeah, this was straight 70-30. Like, it was a 70-30. Darby still won. They set up a match with Darby and the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe, next week. So he vows to win his title back, and God, I hope he does. For all of us.
Okay.
Then I want Joe Takeshka.
Is that okay? Joe Takeshka. I could get on that.
Because I mean, where's Miro?
That's my only other thing. Unless you're gonna pull Miro out, get the belt off of Darby. I will take, though, him beating Joe if that gives me Miro.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to know where in the world is Miro from Bulgaria? Like, seriously, like, where is this dude?
He's healthy. He's available. He's not filming anything as far as I know. I mean, maybe he is.
Get him on my screen, cutting killer promos
About
his
Miro.
God, the Redeemer.
I mean, Miro versus God is probably the best fucking feud of 2021. Where is that? Give that back to me.
Yeah. So no, I mean, that could be a thing. The one thing, Jungle Hook, whatever. Yeah, it's Jungle Hook one. What you think of the family therapy? Dumb.
It was
funny,
better than I thought it was going to be, but it was a little bit predictable.
100% predictable, but still fun and cheeky.
I think it was fun and cheeky. I think the way that they went about it was good, though. I liked that it wasn't live, like it was taped. I think that the Guns came out of that looking better than they did going into it as characters.
I 1,000% agree. I think it was a win for them because it gives them a little bit more texture.
Right. Gives them this whole like daddy was never there angle. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So the women's match of Toni Storm versus Ruby Soho was supposed to be a triple threat.
Was indeed.
But I don't know if anybody happened to watch Dark Elevation or Dark. Britt Baker, DMD, happened to get her nose busted up by none other than Billy Starks.
Mm-hmm.
So her nose is a little tender, so she was unable to.
AGAIN.
Yeah, yes.
It's like the fourth time she's broken her nose. I'm just saying.
It's not broke this time. It is not broke.
She just got busted up a little bit and whatever.
Yeah. So it's tender, and it could easily bleed again. And they didn't want it.
But it's like
possibly break it.
Something wasn't fixed right the first time. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. So Toni comes out full heel. Ruby comes out full face. And then Britt's music hits, distracts Toni, and Ruby's able to get the pin, which again goes back to my hypothesis that they are going to do a full flip. And I feel like it's legit happening now. And I said this would be the coolest thing ever. Britt's going to be a face, but she's still going to be an asshole face, with Jamie being a full face, which Jamie has new black and white hair. Looks pretty good.
Oh, Jamie's been... Oh.
Yeah, but so then they're going to be full-on faces, and then the E-Girls, which I think that's what they should go by, as E-Girls.
I like that. That's hilarious. Nice. I like that.
The E-Girls will become their own faction, of women, and they're all going to be heels. So, like, Tay, who's a former E-Girl, could be over there. Like, you could add a few of the other women that were former E-Girls.
You could put Athena over there. She's already heel.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think, Would you put Ruby in with that?
No. Ruby is the defiant one.
I would take Ruby out of this and put her into Jade still. That's still my opinion, but
you're absolutely right. But see, here's the thing: they're going to start moving her out of this because with Britt in the picture, then you have Britt, then you have the defiant Ruby Soho getting that damn belt off of Jade Cargill finally.
Right, because then you can have Britt, and on Britt's side, of course, is Jamie. You got Sheeta. You got all the originals: Willow, Blue Sky. Blue Sky.
I did that too. Yeah. We're
Sky
even.
Blue. Yeah, it happens. Okay. And the interesting part about this, and the match was good. Match was very good.
Yeah, it was really good.
For one women's match, you could do two. You could do two on it. Tony, you could do two. But for one women's match, this was a great match to have. It wasn't either one of them's best match in AEW, but it didn't have to be. It was a very good TV match for a women, And I got to see Ruby on my TV. Get a win. Yay.
I got to see probably one of the better hip attacks by Toni Storm on Ruby through the middle rope, like right between the ropes, and she was shot out like a cannon.
Well, for what it's worth,
was awesome.
And, you know, I like Ruby in general, but some of the stuff about her wrestling, you know, she could sell better than 90% of the women out there, right?
95.
And she could take as well, and you know the way. Oh my God, she just like that. Her sells of the hip attack were wonderful, you know. But at the end of it, Britt's music hit. She comes out, does the DMD, distracts, you know, and then it leads to the win. And afterwards, you had Ruby kind of looking up there with disdain at her because that was the first major feud when she came in, right? She won the Battle Royal, went up against him, had a really good promo against Britt and all this stuff. So I feel like there's some legs for them to do this little kind of in-between dance with them until they go. And I think you're right. I think it makes sense. You make them, you have these two separate, you know, sides, right? You know, very defined e-girl, heel, original face, right? But I think you can kind of balance it around a little bit here with this in-betweeny stuff. And if they take Ruby and move her into the Jade Cargill picture, would be even better. Just saying.
Well, and then I'm calling this too. So once this faction is created, the e-girl faction is created, and you have the AEWs versus the E's, I say
blood and guts.
Well, yes, that would be amazing. But I'm also calling a swerve, and I call Hikaru Shida turning on her team and joining the e-girls.
Okay.
Calling it now. And if that happens, I'm buying myself a damn Mark Stradamus hat. It's happening.
Coming soon to the merch stand at totalspotfest.com. So.
Yeah, your own. All right, so let's talk about the main event because that was the show for me.
That's your ticket seller right there. Yeah.
So first comes out Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal, you know, came out great.
Super emotional.
Mark came out to one of the biggest pops, you know, definitely pop of the night. Yeah. Well deserved. But I have to ask you, were you emotional before this match or for this match?
Not really before it. They earlier in the night they did a little video vignette thing of him, which was nice and it was good. It gets you in the feels, but before the match, I wasn't really like teary or emotional super, you know, at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Were you?
I blame Jay Lethal. Because
he was damn near he's doing all he could not to cry. Come on,
right? Right? Like I'm seeing those guys get together and I just see his face and they hug, like they do the handshake and they start hugging us, see his face, I'm like, God damn it, Jay, stop, man, you're gonna make me cry. it legit, that's the feeling I had from him because I fed off of his energy. I mean, his emotion off of that, and then Mark's emotion too, because Mark's not necessarily the most emotional dude, and he was showing tons of emotion, and it was a very, very emotional match. Great match. Both those guys did some amazing things. The lethal injection, you know, the lariats, the Jay Driller for the win. I thought that was really cool.
Well, and then you had Jay was going to set up for the chicken coop or whatever it's called, the elbow drop that Mark does from the top rope onto him on the scorer's table. Mark stops him, turns around, he does that onto the scorer's table, which was fantastic. I mean, the redneck kung fu is fast and furious. Which I don't know. For some reason, I love the way that, you know, Riccaboni always goes, redneck kung fu, you know.
Yeah. No, like it had everything. But when the match ended, I think that's what really got me because
that's what teared me up. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the entire locker room came out clapping, and you know Mark comes up there. First person he hugs is Christopher Daniels CD, and like they hug, and like you could see on CD's face is like I love you, man, and I fucking lost it right there. I'm like, God damn it! Like, this is supposed to be special and sweet and happy, and I'm crying.
I
I
mean,
didn't. I mean, I came close to crying. I didn't like.
I
Like
teared up
I
for
teared.
sure. I
I
for
teared.
sure teared up.
But Jesus, man, like talk about an emotional roller coaster of a match.
It was. It was. It was the wrestling either nails it or whiffs big time when they're doing, send offs or post-mortem, whatever it is, stuff like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
some of the stuff that gets you pretty easily, 10 bell salutes and, like when they had the Brody Lee thing, everybody out there and putting his
Oh
boot,
my God, yeah.
I cried like a little schoolgirl, right? Sometimes the other stuff they do is like, it's whatever. This was really, I think, the most poignant way to do it because it would have been very easy for Tony Khan to open up the show, everybody on the ramp. They have a little thing that they show, a little vignette. And they do a 10 bell salute, and then get back to the show. And eventually they end it with Mark and this and that. But it wouldn't have had the authenticity I think that Jay warranted because Jay would have wanted his brother to go out there and do a banger match. So they went with that. And then afterwards, everyone was there just to be the support, which was almost better than doing the pomp and circumstance. So,
Yeah. Yeah, Tony did good. Tony got it right.
he did.
And hell of a match. Looking forward to what Mark will continue to do in AEW.
And
They got to figure out,
ROH.
yeah, like what are they gonna do with those ROH titles? Like unfortunately they got to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough predicament, and Mark looks like he's handling it well. And I know one thing too is Tony said that he's gonna do everything he can to take care of Jay's family, which I thought was really really cool.
Oh, and he will. I did find it. This is what I do love about the AEW thing. And yes, we play favorites here. We are more AEW fanboys. We are on that roster.
Yeah.
There's no misconstrued notions about that. But I did like seeing the Twitter the day after, they posted the picture of the two girls after the older one's surgery, right? They were holding hands in their beds next to the hospital. And then it was Jay's wife, and they're talking about, there's a GoFundMe, whatever. And then you started seeing screenshots pop up. Chris Jericho, $10,000. This person, $10,000, $10,000, $10,000. Dax Harwood, $10,000. They're just like, oh, okay, this is how we do here. Let's go. And yeah, I mean, TK's fucking loaded, so he'll take care of them, which is good. I mean, I know it's just money, but it helps. And the family part of wrestling gets overused at times, but I feel like, this is the perfect moment for the good side of that. So I'm excited to see what they do with Mark, like how are they going to go with this? This guy's had a successful singles run, right? So
I mean, to your point, like there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, and there's a lot ugly in wrestling.
mm-hmm.
We've seen our fair share of uglies,
Hmm.
Joey Ryan, just to name something right there. The bads, Vince McMahon weaseling his way back into WWE when he's also in the ugly part too. But then we have the goods, like this moment of everybody coming together and paying their respects to a wrestling icon that some of them maybe have never wrestled or know very well. Like I don't know if you watched Being the Elite, but both the Bucks were very somber and like
Oh
not
yeah.
their usual fun-loving selves
Mm-hmm.
because it hit them hard because they are friends with the Briscoes. So it's just one of those things, man. Like it makes my heart happy knowing that there are still good people out there and
Yes.
people want to take care of other people, and their heart's in the right place, and it's just good shit, man.
Yep. So I think it speaks good for AEW, speaks good for Ring of Honor. I think that from a business side of things, we're going to get a lot more coming up here. Ring of Honor, I don't know if you caught it in the middle of the thing, but they did a 'cause I didn't remember seeing this, but I did see a little like bottom third they did for Supercard of Honor, Friday, March 31st. So
Yeah, in California, San Jose.
LA.
LA? Is it
Yep.
LA?
Good old LA. Yep. We're not going.
No.
Because that's expensive. So I think by then we'll know what we're going to go with. But in the meantime, we shall see. And I'm glad and thankful to end this here.
Me too.
Warner Brothers Discovery got off their high horse and did the right thing too. So, final thoughts on Dynamite.
It ended beautifully.
Very well said. Well, do you have anything else? I don't really have anything else. It feels like there's not a lot, I mean, with the whole thing with Jay and then, WWE's got the pay-per-view coming up.
Nail on the head at the end. I mean, there's still some good wrestling coming up. I know we're looking to go to St. Louis in February, so mark your all's calendars for that. And
in February, we're going to be in St. Louis. We're talking about taking some other trips potentially too.
Potentially, yeah. Maybe go to Dallas, or not Dallas, Denver, to see one of our good friends, Heidi, out at Lucha Libre in Laughs. We've been dying to go see one of their shows, and we know them. We know the Howlets who go out there too. So it'd be good to see a few familiar faces and go from there.
So we always say, if you guys have anything, any sort of stuff relatively close to Kansas City, drop us a line. Let us know. We'll entertain anything. Shit, we almost pulled the plug on a whim and went to the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Nebraska. Like literally the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. Like there's a flying J, a Runza, and nothing else, right? So oh God, Runza. Ugh.
Yeah, Runza just makes me want to throw up. No
Runza's the appropriate descriptor for that place. So
gives you the Runza.
Let us know in the comments down below if you actually like Runza. Because there are people who love it. Like people, talk to somebody from Omaha, and they will staunchly defend Runza.
Oh yeah, more power to you, buddy. I'm out.
Good for whatever the hell that is. If you don't know what we're talking about, just Google it. It'll make you lose your appetite real fast. So we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Keep an eye out. We do got some stuff planned for the channel for some of our episodes coming up here. So we don't want to give anything away. Just keep an eye out. Hit the bell icon down below so you can be alerted to stuff. But we got more stuff coming along the way. Let's see where we go from here. I know next week we get Moxley Hangmer 3 along with the Samoa Joe Darby Allin. So set up for a pretty banger show. We should see what happens. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate you giving us some of your time. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down till Spotfest, I have 3 words for you. Damn it. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you indeed. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.